Morning, Chairman. We're now live.
Thank you, Tom. Welcome everybody to the Pension Board meeting for Lincolnshire Fire and Rescue. As you're aware, we are live streaming and recording this meeting as per our terms of reference. So we'll start off with the meeting as of now. So Tom, just in regards to the apologies for absence.
We have apologies from Keith Noyland, but no apologies from the membership.
Okay, thank you for that. In regards to declarations of interest, we've had nothing declared prior to the meeting. Any other areas to be declared before we go on to the minutes actions? Nope. Okay. We'll go straight into the minutes and actions from previous meeting. Looking for minutes for accuracy, and just I'll talk through any of the updates that's required from the actions. So in regards to page 5, if you're looking at the pack, just for accuracy, on to page 6, areas just for confirmation, the discussions and round of the terms of reference. Was the considerations from the committee, just a confirmation that the board had agreed the changes set out in the terms of reference, and the actions were that the subsequent meetings will be live streamed, which as we have completed, and the chair has amended the terms of reference, which has also been completed. Thank you. Moving on to page 7, really for accuracy, the items were to note the updates. Bottom of page 7, in regards to the fire pensions board plan, 2 areas that were being looked at. One was in regards to the risk register, and the item which was about the skilled resources from Serco resulted in the residual risk turning down to amber to level 6. That confirmed that has been updated on the risk register. The second action was for West Yorkshire Pension Fund to assist in helping identify costs incurred by the judicial review. So has that been discussed? Helen, have you, was that fed back through to you?
No, I don't have any idea what that item really means for me.
Okay, so we was having a discussion about what the from an update that we got from Matt in regards to the judicial review, yeah, I think there were some discussions about whatever any identified cost was related in regards to that. So I think it was a discussion point that was brought through from Matt. So if I suggest we probably just keep that on there just so we've got some clarity for you, Helen.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll speak to Matt and see if I can find out what the intention was from that item.
Okay, no problem at all. Thank you. Excuse me. So on page 8 on the pack, they were just for items for note to note actions, but just for any points of accuracy. And page 9, just confirming next meeting, which is obviously today. So we'll sign them minutes off as accurate and pull through with just the follow-up actions to get clarity in regard to support West Yorkshire Pension Fund to identifying costs related to the judicial review as per March's meeting. Thank you, Tom. Okay. So that brings us on to item 4. Helen, are you talking us through the monthly report, please?
Yeah, can do. So the monthly report now starts with details of where we were with key performance indicators. So as you can see there, everything's been dealt with by us, actually 100% in target for every area. You then get kind of the information in kind of graph form about what we've completed and what we've got outstanding. Then part 3 is just an update on your web registration for people to be able to see their information via the portal. And then underneath there's a graph so that you can see the changes over the months. So it looks like in May there's been a slight increase, so which is what we want. We just want everything climbing upwards. Just details of your membership numbers, and again there's some graphs there just to kind of indicate any changes for you, for both your actives, deferreds and your pensioners. Then part 5 is the administration update from us. So the SCAPE discount rate is a national government thing, and it was confirmed that the SCAPE discount rate had been changed and changed downward. So at the point that happens, all factors that are used in pension calculations need to be amended to reflect that new SCAPE discount rate. So we had a period where we had to suspend working on certain case types, transfers in, transfers out, divorce. They were the main areas. We have now received revised factors for most of the areas, so we've now recommenced work on all of those, and also the SCAPE discount rate did change the lump sum commutation factors for the 92 scheme, and the new ones have been effective from the 3rd of April 23, so we've been using those for the retirement since that date. So in terms of annual benefit statements, the template itself has been finalised, ready and is ready for production. We have completed your month 12 return, so your members are in the queue for ABS production. ABS production has started, but because of the number of phone calls and the impact on our contact centre, we just send so many out each day, and I think there's probably 10 to 15 queries that are with Serco where somebody isn't going to get an ABS at the moment until that query is resolved. But we do still have, obviously, until the 31st of August, so at the moment there's no problems there. The consultations, the first consultation that was out was the Home Office consultation on the amendment regulations for retrospection. That closed, and Home Office have indicated that they expect their response to the consultation and the actual regulations to be available before the summer recess, so that's the end of July, I believe. They also sent out a further consultation on the Matthews second options exercise. That closed on the 9th of June, and because that one is obviously running a little bit later, they don't expect the information about that one to be available until after the summer recess, and they were saying early to mid-September. And then the other consultation that's currently out is a HMRC one on tax rectification as part of that needs to be in place so that remedy can be implemented successfully. And some of the information, some of the stuff in this tax legislation is how to deal with the changes to the tax position for annual allowance and lifetime allowance, and people who've got additional pension contribution contracts. So hopefully they're working on that one, and that will be in place before the 1st of October as well. So we've just got, then there's just a reminder that in the bulletin, in one of the LGA bulletins, they provided some wording and asked FRAs if they would incorporate that wording into their estimate or retirement letters, so that they're covering a re-employment and abatement and the impact. So that one really was an action on yourselves. Month 12 I've already covered. And then lost contacts. We discussed this at our client meeting on the 19th of April. And we have a lot of, in the main 2006 members who have been awarded a deferred benefit, but we no longer hold a current home address. So we're looking to get a list of those out to each FRA to ask if they can assist in finding any of these for us. But also we requested that in kind of your termination leaving process for somebody that's not going straight onto pension, if it's just in correspondence or you have a meeting with them or whatever, however it's done, if you can make sure that they are aware that West Yorkshire Pension Fund are the administrators, and that because the pension benefits are not going to be due to be paid for a lot of years, they do need to keep us informed of any changes in the home address. And this one now is particularly important because of pension dashboards, because pension dashboards will cover data for active and deferred members. So if we haven't got a current home address, then that causes problems with the whole dashboard process. We sent out a survey and we're just asking the FRAs just to make sure that if they haven't already completed it, they do so. And then there's just an update from kind of what we've done communications and training wise. So we've produced some facts cards for both employer and the FRA, and you can access those on our website. So as an FRA, you need to kind of think about who they might be useful for, and perhaps a communication piece for members so that they can access the member fact card if they wanted to. Just confirmation that the P60s were completed, list of the kind of pension boards that were attended in the month, and kind of higher level meetings. And then after that, we're just back to the general 5-year audit plan, which is there just really to give yourselves as the board reassurance about the type of governance that West Yorkshire goes through, the checking that we're compliant with everything that we should be. 10 is your normal, anything that might be breaching overriding disclosure time limits, which potentially might need reporting, but there's none of those. Just the calendar of events about what we do in each month. And then the final part at part 12 is kind of the items pulled out of the LGA bulletin that was issued the end of April. So it talks about the consultations. So they've both been, obviously, times the dates have passed for those. There is an ill health process guide, which has just been updated. So that's important that your HR department or whoever in your organisation deals with ill health retirement for firefighters is aware that this exists, and make sure that they actually read it to follow the processes. Then there's just kind of other general updates, but they were the only ones, kind of ones with actions. And then we have the data conference 17th of May in London, which hopefully anybody that attended from Lincolnshire found useful. So that's the end of that update.
Thanks, Helen. Really appreciate that and going through that. So I'll open up to the floor and online. First of all, from any questions for Helen in regards to what's been presented first? Probably just forgive me, I'll just jot in a few notes, Helen, as I was going through. In regards to obviously the SCAPE discount rate change, and clearly it's great to recognise that there's been a lot of work from West Yorkshire Fund to work through that. I suppose it's just hopefully it's a relatively straightforward question. I'm assuming if there's been any impact to staff, or if there is or there isn't, do we need to communicate, or we got the confidence that it's just been worked through? Because obviously there's with the reduction in the discount rate, does that have an impact on any of our staff?
Not really. I mean, it does obviously in the sense that the change in the factors can change the end result of a process. So there may have been midway through a transfer in and it couldn't be completed, and now it has to be completed on the new factors. But that will all be kind of wrapped up in what we do.
Okay. No, thank you. Thank you. I was just looking for some assurance on that. In regards to the what you just discussed us in regards about with the re-employment, I suppose it's a question that do we need something in regards to having some comms to our own staff in regards to that particular subject, particularly in regards to let's have a look. We're looking at the element that you said we wanted to recommend that they put something into the pre-retirement letters. Have we got that within?
Yes, we're looking into that within the HR department, and also we'll need to link in with someone in the service where they're discussing possible re-engagement with people that might have left recently as well.
Yeah, thanks for that, Liz. So if we can, Tom, if we can just have that action that we're working through to ensure that we've got the appropriate comms and guidance for staff relating to re-employment. Thank you. I suppose, yeah, it's just it was really probably an observation, probably an action for us as well. The update that you had about the member fact cards and the FRA fact cards, I think it's probably an action for us to take, that we can have that linked to the intranet, because we've got a page that has that service-wide comms that links to all information relating to pensions. So it feels that might be beneficial, so we can and then promote that. Okay. Thank you, Tom. So if we take an action, that's for LFR to link in regards to promoting and putting the member and FRA fact cards on our intranet. Thank you.
Sorry, one more thing. Was there an action on the lost contact to improve information given to members who leave but don't go straight into pension?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely good pick up. Yeah, so it just reminds in regards to that lost contact, just to making sure I'm just getting this right. So this was about obviously Helen, yourselves wanting to know if there's been any member addresses that have changed or unknown or etc. I suppose it's just trying to understand how do we get that link. What do we know what we don't know, I suppose, is a question. That's probably a bit of a question that both to Liz and Helen, I suppose.
Right, so we have a list of members currently on our system where the address is showing as lost contacts. So it's already happened. So we're going to send that report to yourselves and ask if there's any way that internally, you know, through the fire stations and people who are still working for you, through the kind of network that is there, if anybody is able to know these people and ask them to get in touch with us to correct their address. So that's one part of it. But also we don't actually want to be in a position where we do have no current home address and post is being returned. So what we're asking FRAs to do is to kind of start that process of knowing that they need to keep us up to date with any changes of address at your end. So when somebody hands the notice in and resigns, if at that point there can be some communication to them to to highlight to them the importance of keeping us up to date with any changes in home address during that period between leaving and the benefits coming into payment.
Yeah, thanks, Helen. That makes it a lot clearer for us. Thank you. So if we've got an agreed action, Helen, for yourself to send over what that report is into us, I think probably to you, Liz, yeah. So we can chase things at our end. And then I suppose, Liz, it's that discussion around how we do keep that link from when people are putting in their retirement notice to when they get their payments, that we have something in regards to ensuring that, reminding people to keep us up to date.
Yeah, we'll ensure that happens.
Yeah, and then probably the final update was about the ill health retirement update, and obviously those guidance that Helen discussed, are just confirming, Liz, that we've got that in hand.
Yes, that was in hand. We've reviewed all of the ill health cases that we had, and we don't need to re-refer anyone to the IQMP. So for Lincolnshire, it's fairly straightforward.
Excellent, thanks for that, Liz. Any other points, observations or questions in regards to item 4 then? Okay, thanks for that. Move on to item 5, which is current issues, verbal update from Liz, yeah?
Yeah, thank you, Mark. So for the current issues, the IDRP cases, we've had none. For breaches, we've had none. And then for immediate detriment, for the category 1 cases, so these are retiring members, we have received a total of 12 requests to date. 8 of those have elected legacy benefits. One case, the individual actually withdrew their request, and then we've got 3 cases ongoing. And then for the category 2 cases, so these are members who've already retired and asking for legacy scheme benefits. We've had no new requests since the last meeting, so in total it stayed static. We've dealt with 11 requests to date, 10 elected legacy scheme benefits, and there was 1 member that chose to remain on current benefits. So that's it from that item. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Any comments, questions for Liz on that update? Okay, thank you for that. Excuse me. Move on to item 6, which is the Fire Pensions Board Plan. First section is the forward plan. Scrolling down in regards to the items that have probably not been highlighted, just confirmation of the big completion. So there was providing the year-end returns to Home Office, which was due on April 23, just getting confirmation that, and that's from LCC Finance, confirmation that has been completed. Alex, are you? Yeah, Alex, are you online?
Yeah, hold on.
Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, got you loud and clear. Thank you.
I'll be with Keith on that one. I believe it's all sorted, but I'll do a final check when Keith's back. So I'm obviously filling in for Keith today because he's not in today. So but he didn't feed back anything that hadn't been done. So I'm assuming it's all sorted.
Okay, thank you for that. Just running down, probably just worth, it's more of a typo on line 2115. Obviously, it's a recurring one for this year ending. It says April 2022. It probably needs to be 2024. It's just it's a recurring forward plan item. So we just have that updated on that, Tom, and that'd be great. Thank you. Next element is the training plan. Again, this is at the current level of competence and the training available. So, and question being, is any further training and updates that anybody needed to add on in regards to the training plan? Not okay. And just the and the general reminder is to keep the reminder to ensure that particularly on the TPR training modules, to keep people pointed to that in regards to being on the board. And then the final element in there is in regards to the risk register. What I'll suggest at the moment, we have updated in regards to the discussions that we had from the previous meeting. I'll open up on the floor unless anybody has got any comments there where the residual risks are as the new risks, but we have the ability to revise this at any point during the meeting. So what I would suggest is I will just ensure we'll ask a question at the end of the meeting if there's anything from any discussions or items being raised, if it'll affect on the risk register from what we've been discussing. But unless there's anything that anybody wanted to raise at this moment. Nope. Okay, thank you for that. So, and then we are, so in that case, we are moving on to item 7, which is the fire pension scheme bulletins, which is a bit of an overview. Thank you.
Thank you. I won't go through all of the items because I've given the written update, but what I will do is I'll just highlight some of the entries on that update. So I'm looking at the February 23 bulletin. So the ones that I just wanted to highlight there is that there was a new page on the 2015 remedy that's available to members on the FPS members website. There were a few subcategories like who's affected by the remedy, what they can expect if they've already retired, those kinds of things. We did actually publish the links to that on our intranet. The second item in that February bulletin is around the data collection for the 2015 remedy. So this is to rebuild the final salary record so that when members come to their retirement date, they can then get the figures for both current and legacy scheme and make a choice, what they call the deferred choice underpin. That data is still being worked on. We had a deadline of the 30th of June. We have temporarily gone back to Helen to say there's a possibility that we might not be able to make that deadline, but everything is still progressing. Just to reassure you, Helen, that some other information that we were looking at is bearing fruit, and it's actually making the job a lot easier than we thought it would. So that is still continuing. And then the last one in the February update was about the Matthews pre-work that was provided for FRAs. And again, I've got a temporary resource helping me with all this work, the Sargent and the MacLeod and the Matthews second options exercise. So that data gathering is continuing. For the March bulletin, I just wanted to pick one thing out of there. It was about delays to the dashboard connection deadlines. We're still awaiting, I think, dates on what those new deadlines might be. This was about giving enough time for the programme around the digital architecture. For the April bulletin, we've already mentioned about the annual benefit statements and the fact that the 12-month return has been completed, but I had noted, Helen, that you'd said there was a number of queries with Serco colleagues. So what I will do is I'll go back after this meeting and double check with Serco colleagues that those are being actioned. For the May bulletin, which was the last one, I've just picked two things out of there. There was the pension regulator data requirements 2023 scheme return, and there was some guidance around that return. So that's been noted for when that return does come through in. Alex, those kind of things normally come through Andrew Crookham as the scheme manager, and then he just usually lets me know that it's available to work on his behalf. And then the last item was about the SAB guidance note on pensionable pay remedies. So this was about a legal note from Waitmans, which was about any pay issues that had not been treated as pensionable but should have been under the scheme rules, we would use that guidance when retrospectively adjusting any pay issues. And that's the update on that section. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Any questions or comments in regards to the bulletins and Liz's update? Nope, thank you, Liz, for talking us through that. That's really useful. And so we'll move on to item 8. Helen, is there any updates from the Fire Pensions Officers Group?
It was yesterday and I didn't attend. Unfortunately, I had a pre-retirement to do that clashed. Let me just, but I do have some draft minutes, so let me just have a quick. So I think, I mean, obviously we covered data, which Liz has kind of covered more about, because the kind of main outstanding piece is the information we need for to implement remedy. Then we get updates from the LGA covering the bulletins, which obviously Liz has just done. Current position on immediate detriment. Remedy, kind of gave an update on that, which obviously is we're up to with the consultation. We're kind of just waiting for the regulations now. We covered Matthews, the dashboard. There's some amending regulations, and there is now a backstop date for the connection deadline of the 31st of October 2026. With an anticipation that a staging timeline is going to be set out in guidance. So at the moment, we still don't know anything. We haven't got any specific dates for the fire scheme, but that should come. But I think we are still continuing to do all the work that we'd got set out to do, and hopefully whatever timeframes we get, we'll be ready and prepared for. So it doesn't look like there was, it doesn't look like there was anything particularly discussed that you wouldn't know about already.
Okay, thanks a lot, Helen. Yeah, I appreciate that. That's I think that's probably the main thing. As long as there's nothing there that we're not cited on, that's probably the main thing that we're focusing on. So it's probably while you're still there, then on item 9, is there any updates from the Scheme Advisory Board?
No, not really. We had a meeting on the 23rd of March. So First Actuarial, who are the actuaries to the appointed actuaries to the board, gave an update on the spring budget changes which affected lifetime allowance and annual allowance. And then we talked about, again, obviously, as you'd expect, the Sergeant remedy. We had an update from the Government Actuaries Department on Matthews and how they're dealing with it and where their thinking is, and where they are with the calculator that they're going to produce. And we also had an update regarding the 2020 valuation. At that point, sort of everything from is kind of confidential from the content, but I think we're expecting something out fairly soon, because obviously that 2020 valuation is going to impact on the employer contributions from April 24. So I think something is coming within the next month or so. And then we had another meeting on the 8th of June, and we had the First Actuarial gave a presentation on the changes to the scape rate and its impact, both on the factors and on valuation. We discussed the Scheme Advisory Board had produced a draft response to the Home Office on the Matthews second options exercise. So we just went through that, and there, the answers discussed and considered and agreed. and then both Civica and Haywoods, who are the software suppliers for all the fire schemes, gave an update to Scheme Advisory Board about where they are with the developments and what they expect to have in place, and just to give the board reassurance as to, that things were all moving in the right direction. So that's it from Sab.
Okay, Helen, thanks for that. Again, any questions or comments for Helen in regards to the update? Yeah, I suppose probably more of an observation really. Obviously, in the next few months, there's going to be more clarity in regards to some of that work, in regards to the calculations. I suppose just making sure that we still got that link in regards to your team, Helen, particularly with Serco, to ensure that we can administer whatever the calculation changes are in a timely manner.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously for us, for Sergeant, it's the extract that Liz mentioned. That's the key. But if we get that and that information gets uploaded onto member records, then there's probably no change for Serco in terms of what they need to do and how they need to do it. You know, everything will be more at our end in terms of providing what they're calling remediable service statements, which is giving everybody the details of both the options that are available to them. And then with Matthews, again, well, I mean, obviously, I don't think Serco are going to be overly involved, because the calculations will need to be done, but obviously the involvement would be the kind of the repayment of the contributions part of it. So hopefully, I mean, as things move on, we will keep you informed of where we're going and what we're doing, and any requirements that we've got.
Yeah, thanks for that, Helen. Yeah, it was just really giving that, making sure that we're cited and supporting that. But Liz's team are linked into that quite heavily as well. So
yeah,
just make sure we just got that oversight on it. That's all. Thank you. Okay, we're moving into basically items 10 and 11 in regards to the date of the next meeting. Tom, is the date of the next meeting programmed in at the moment? Okay. That's okay, no problem.
Yes, the next meeting is scheduled for the 14th of September.
Okay, thank you for that.
10 a.m.
Yeah, so again, proposing, but we're still keeping with the same format, and as we are doing through this hybrid type meeting, is still comfortable with that proposal in regards to how we're managing the meeting. Okay, thank you. So that moves us on to item 12, which just going to read out and get confirmation of a position on this. So this is in light that we've got a consideration of exempt information. So in accordance with section 100, paragraph A, subsection 4 of the Local Government Act 1972, the following agenda item has not been circulated to the press and public on the grounds that is considered to contain exempt information as defined in paragraph 3 of part 1 of schedule 12A of the Local Government Act 1972 as amended. The press and the public may be excluded from this meeting for the consideration of this item of business. So I'm just proposing that we formally close this part of the meeting, and if I request that we close access to public, and also if I can request for West Yorkshire Pensions Fund to withdraw, if everybody's comfortable with that proposal, if we can have a vote if that is accepted by the board members, please. Vote, yeah. And online. Okay, we'll class that's been unanimous. So thank you for that. So if I could just pause, and Tom, if you can just confirm when we're in a position where we're able to discuss the exempt paper. Thank you.